Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we are going to be building the Tudor corner, the 2025 modular. So without further ado, let's just get right into it today. There is a lot to talk about here. There's going to be timestamps in the description. I'm going to be building this, giving you guys a time lapse of the build and also a quick review of it. And also, I want to compare it to all of the other buildings that I have in the city, just so you can see what they look like on either side. I haven't seen anyone do that yet, so if that's something that you're interested in, definitely stick around and check that out. But without me talking too much, let's just crack open that box and get started building. All right, so I'm unboxing the entire set here. It's just really loud with all the plastic, so I'm going to just kind of lower the volume and do a voiceover of this while I do it. And there is 20 numbered bags in here, for those of you wondering, and there is one bag for each number, so there's not two different bags with the number 1 on them, so everything just has one bag to it, which is kind of nice. And the base plate comes in its little cardboard sleeve, and it is a bright green base plate, unfortunately. I prefer the regular green, but the bright green is fine too. I guess I'll probably end up switching that out. And the instruction booklet actually came in this paper bag, actually. I've never seen this before, so this is pretty cool to see. Instead of it being in plastic or cardboard, it was in paper, and you could just pull up the tab and take the instruction booklet out. So that's pretty cool. But that's pretty much it for the unboxing experience. There is also the bag of bigger plates, the 6x16s, I think they are. So that's pretty good. And so now let's check it out in real time. All right, so like I said, there is one of each numbered bag all the way up through 20. And so I have bag 1 out here ready to open, and then all of the other ones lined up here. I didn't know how to line it up without taking up too much of the desk here. So I thought I'd double stack it, and so put 2 through 9 on the top and then 10 through 20 underneath it. I guess we'll see how that goes for, the sake of reaching for it, but I think that's fine. And then the base plate, like I said, is a bright green instead of the regular green, unfortunately. So I'm not too happy about that here. I'm trying to get this out with one hand, but it's fine. It's a base plate, and most of it's going to get covered anyways, except for the alleyway in the back corner. So that's fine. This doesn't really bother me. I can always swap it out. I have enough of my own base plates, so that is perfectly fine with me. The instruction booklet is very thick, as you can see. If you open it up, you can see the pages here. And it just gets right into it. There's no details getting started on it, and there is a little piece of information here, and I'm assuming that the set is going to have that throughout as well. But I will save all of that for the people who choose to build it, so I don't want to spoil too much about it. This is just the first one on the first page. But if you come all the way to the end here, there is, let's see, 589 steps here, as you can see, over the course of 336 pages, and then page 337 is the finalized build here. And then the parts list, and that is it for the entire set here. And there's a nice detailed look at the Tudor Corner, Natural History Museum, and the Jazz Club. I think that looks really nice, actually. And so I actually don't really use paper instructions anymore. I just put these in bins. And so I use the digital ones. I think it's easier to just swipe instead of fumbling through the pages. And then they look like this, and you have to kind of like crook your neck to see the inside of it. So I just use the digital one, so I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to open this up, and we can start the time lapse and start building this thing. And so actually, before I get started, there's one last thing to note. This page was sticking to the next one, so I thought it was just this, and then it started the build. But there's actually a little bit of detail talking about the building here, which is pretty cool. And the instructions are free, so you can check this out online in greater detail. But I just wanted to cover that because I felt like someone would probably comment about that if I didn't say that. So that's that. But now that that is done, I can put this to the side and we can start building. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that time lapse. And so this is the completed product here next to the box it comes in. Just so in case you guys see the box in person, that's a little bit of a size comparison for you right there. But we don't need the box for the rest of the video, so I'm going to take that out. And so right now is going to be the review segment of it. I actually still have all of the plastic bags on the floor. Lego still has not converted them over to paper bags like they said they were going to probably 4 years ago at this point. And so they are making progress slowly and surely with the LAN boxes that they send out to their influencers and then the paper instruction holder. But for the most part, everything is still single-use plastic. So I just wanted to note that. But so for the actual review itself, we're going to go through the exterior of it, and then I'll go through each interior level. And we're going to start with the bottom and work our way up. So starting with the inn on the bottom here, I think this looks great. To be totally honest with you, I thought when I saw the pictures originally that there was too much color going on, and I was kind of skeptical, to be honest with you. But after building it, I think it looks great. Let me get some of these figures out of the way here, and we can take a look at the figures in just a second here once I'm done going over the exterior of it. And so here is the last one here. And so I think the exterior looks great. Everything that you see that is decorated, like these tiles here and the clocks and all that stuff, everything is a print. There are no stickers in this set, thankfully, so that is good to see. And so there is one outdoor seating spot right there for 2 people. There's a lot of flowers on this, and there's a light out here and a menu, which is pretty good. I really like that print, actually. I think it looks good. And the crest outside is actually a reference, as is the name of the place, to some older Lego sets. And then coming over here is more of the same with the dark green, the gold, and the black. And I think this looks really good, to be honest with you. I am very happy with this. I think it looks good. And yeah, also this door is new to me, the kind of medieval style of door. I really like that as well. I think that looks really good. And then coming over this way is the haberdashery section of it. And so you can open this up, and there is a mannequin in there, which is technically the 8th figure, which I'll talk about later. But this looks good. I love the blue on this. I think that looks really, really good. I'm extremely happy with that. And there's a lot of windows in here, but unfortunately you can't see in without taking the top off. But we will get to that in just a minute. The classic lamppost is over here in white. And then the ugly side of it, I guess, the not camera-friendly side right here it's okay. It doesn't look that bad, but it would definitely look better if you didn't see it. You know, if you were looking at the building like this, I think it would benefit from having a building right here covering that wall, but that's just me. This first floor is just tan with a little strip of brown, which we will talk about in just a second. And then the second floor has more blue bricks here, which look great. And then the top one is just dark gray. And then coming around to the back here, there's a big vine going up the back here and a dumpster with a little cat outside. And the dumpster has a fish in it, a spoiled fish. And this door leads to the inside, to the back where the kitchen is, as well as the bathroom, which I will show you guys in just a second here as well. This staircase went together really nicely, actually, and you can remove this section right here to get access to the bathroom. So that is pretty cool. And there is a little light in there. There's toilet paper, and there is obviously the toilet and a door as well. So that's really nice, actually. That's really cool that they were able to fit that in such a small space. They did the same thing or a similar thing in the Jazz Club a couple years ago, but you didn't have access. You couldn't remove the staircase like you can here. But overall, this first floor looks really good, I think, and this angle here looks really nice as well. So now moving up to the second floor from right where we just were, there's a big clock hanging on the outside, and I love this print. I think that looks really, really good. I'm happy with that. The gold droid legs were a nice touch up top here as well. There is a lot of foliage up here, as well as this color of brick here. This is not medium nougat like I originally thought when I first saw the pictures. This color is actually regular nougat, not medium nougat. And so coming along to this side of the building here, you'll see more of that nougat color along with the dark orange as well as the dark tan beneath it. And I think the color combination actually really works well here. Again, it works a lot better in person than it did in the pictures, I think. So that is really nice to see. And then this section over here has a really nice window on it, and it has more of that nice blue color as well as the gray accents on either side. And I'm actually really happy with that. And so I think that looks good. And then like I showed before, this wall is pretty much plain. And it's just the blue color. And then over here is a tiny, tiny little window and more of that vine. And then this is the door to the clockmaker workshop, which we'll talk about in just a second here. And then the kind of landing for the walkout, I guess, for the staircase here for the door. And that is pretty much that for this side here. There's a little bit more of that nougat color, and that is pretty much it for the second floor here. This window does look pretty good. I'm happy with that. I really like the design here of using the fenders in there. I think that looks good. And now the part that I actually want to talk about the most is the actual Tudor styling up top here, with the roofing style in the dark red and the black and white pieces throughout here. This is an incredible building experience. I'm really happy with this. I think it looks great. And all of these pieces, like you saw in the time lapse, they just clip together on here. So they're actually in there pretty good. They're pretty sturdy. The only thing I will note is that these wedge plates at the top are kind of loose a little bit. Like you can see, I just took that one off right there. So that is kind of unfortunate. Now I'm going to have to go in and fix that, but that's fine. I just wanted to show you guys that. There are two windows here as well as this design here. And this is actually 2x2 plates just resting in there. And so that are modified plates, and that looks really good. They're not going to fall out. They're not going anywhere. They are stuck in there, which is great to see. That looks really, really good. And then this side here has just the straight up and down lines, and then actually the window frames are a part of that as well. I think that looks really good. And there is a triangle tile up top here as well. I think that looks really good. And then the chimney here, that looks great. I am extremely happy with that. I think it looks really, really good. And this window here might actually be one of my favorite parts of the whole set. This was a joy to put together. I love this thing so, so much. It looks great from every angle, and it looks even better with the slopes on either side of it. So if you guys have the set already, definitely let me know what you think of it. But if you don't have the set, check out the free building instructions LEGO has on their website. You can see how this thing is built, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. And then again, the back here is just the gray, and the other side here where the staircase is has a bigger window on it, which is kind of nice. It's a little bit plain and it's flat, but it's better than no window at all, I guess. And then there is a little bit of a downpipe here and a balcony with a couple more flowers on it. And this actually looks really good. This connected in a very interesting way. It's actually the faucet piece into the headlight brick there. So that's pretty cool. But now that we've pretty much covered the exterior except for the roof here, which is just a door with ladder access and then another chimney here. Since that's pretty much it for the roof, let's take the top floors off and we can take a look at the interior down here and we can work our way up. All right, so the walls in this are pretty tall, but I'm going to try and do my best to get in there and show you guys what it looks like from a real perspective and not, taking half of the set apart here. But starting at that front door here, which I had shown earlier, there's another menu on the side of the wall there, as well as another table on the inside here with the pre-molded chairs. And I think that looks pretty good. I like also the support pillars in here. I think that really adds to the look as well. And then the medium nougat tiled floor looks good as well. There's a print on the wall here on the regular nougat wall, and then a clock down there. And you'll see a lot of clocks actually in just a moment here. But this is the door to the back where the trash can is. So that's good. And then this is the door to the bathroom right here. So let me take that out one more time for you, just to kind of show you guys that. So you can kind of see, you can get your finger in there a little bit, but there's not a lot of access to that, unfortunately. But I think having the stairs come off as its own thing was a good idea. And then this right here is the actual inn itself. There's 3 stools at this bar here, and I think it looks really good. There are grill tiles on the floor there for helping drain in case you spill any liquids, and then like a mat almost, and then there's a coffee machine and a bunch of different details on that back wall there, as well as a plate of bacon, eggs, and toast, it looks like, on the bar top there, as well as a couple lights and a mug. So this looks really good. I am extremely happy with this. It looks great. The only thing, though, is that you can't really see it, unfortunately. Same with this kitchen back here. It is so awkward to get in there, especially without taking anything apart. And so actually, before I go any further, I wanted to let you guys know that I did take a couple videos of before I finished building the first floor. So what you're seeing right now is the bar itself, and pretty much that was done, but the walls were not yet. And then also the kitchen as well as the bathroom. I took videos of those because I wanted to show you guys what it was really like from a low perspective, like what the minifigs would see. But from what we as humans would see, this is pretty much it. There's a fume exhaust here and some pretty nice stuff in there, but unfortunately you just can't see it. And then the haberdashery over here has a lot of different yarns and things like that over here. And there are a lot of hats too, a lot of hats. And then the mannequin, which is a nice print as well for the torso there. That looks good. Then there's a couple umbrellas on the wall and a nice tile pattern as well. This color here that is going with the black on the floor, that is the same light nougat color that is on the middle floor of the boutique hotel. And so that was pretty cool to see. And then the dark red back behind the logo here and these feather pieces as well. I think that looks really good. And unfortunately, this has the same problem where you can't really see. These lowered walls do really help a lot, but unfortunately, you just can't see all that much. But now that with the top floors off, you can see in there a little bit better. And I think it looks pretty good, although it is pretty small. All right, so now with the second floor on here, we can start to get a look on the inside here. And so you will quickly see that the blue extends to the interior as well, which was really nice to see. And so this, let me actually just take this off of the first floor here, just to give you guys a little bit of a more top-down angle on this. And this is the clockmaker's workshop here. So the staircase that you saw earlier comes up to this door here, and then this is a closet actually, which is pretty cool to see. And there's a little let's see if I can get my hand in there. This is like a little vacuum, I think. There's a different name for it, but I don't know what the exact term for that is, but that's in the closet, which is pretty cool to see. And there's also a little crate in there, like a little bin. And you will just see a lot of clocks around here. I think they're really well built, actually. I think a lot of them look really good. So we're going to just kind of work our way around here. This is a grandfather clock, and I think that looks great. You'll find a whole bunch of different types of clocks in here as well, like cuckoo clocks and all different shapes and sizes of these different things, and even an hourglass as well. But the builds of these range from extremely simple to pretty sophisticated, not super complex, but I think they all look good in their own way, and the rug in there looks pretty good. I would have preferred these quarter-round tiles be dark red instead of regular red, but the fireplace looks great. I am extremely happy with that. I think it looks really, really good. Unfortunately, you can't really see the flame in there. It's pretty far back, but I guess that's kind of realistic. And then the clock in here is actually built into the wall here, so that's pretty cool, actually. They're all built differently, which is nice. And this lamp looks really good as well. And then the magnifying glass on the table actually does work, which is nice. My only complaint with this floor here is that every clock here that uses the 1x1 round tile is the exact same print. So it gets pretty repetitive if you're looking at all these clocks. I would have liked to have seen at least one more unique 1x1 tile print for a clock, but as it is, I'm pretty happy with it. And this is the hourglass that I was talking about. It's not real sand in there, unfortunately, but it does look pretty good. And actually, this staircase here is one of my favorite parts of the entire build. It is offset in multiple directions, actually, and it was a joy to put together. So again, I highly recommend you check out the building instructions if you haven't yet. This looks great, and there's a little awning over the door here, which I don't think I mentioned yet. And that is pretty much it for this floor here. There's not too much to talk about. There's a lot of open space in the middle, but that's good so you can place figures around and do all different kinds of stuff and tell all different kinds of stories. So I think this looks good, and I'm quite happy with it. So now let's put it on, and we can take a look at the third floor. All right, so this is the top level now, and so like I said, that staircase comes up, and you have access to this studio apartment here. And I think this looks pretty good. There is what looks like a sink in the corner there next to the door where the balcony is. And then there's a newspaper and a box on that newspaper. And then coming around this way, there's a couple lights above this couch here. This couch is really, really well built. I love this design here. I think that looks great. And then there's a little coffee table out in front of it, a little ball in the back, and then this little build here that you can actually put the cats on, which I thought was really cool. That looks really, really awesome, and I'm happy with that. And then in here is a couple of different beetle terrariums or insect terrariums, and I think that looks really cool. Actually, they're not actually attached in there, so if I take this brick off, the clear brick off, the beetle is just going to fall to the floor. But I think that looks really good, and I'm quite happy with that. Actually, I think that looks nice. And I like how they're staggered as well. I think that looks pretty good. And then there's the back of that window that I was talking about a minute ago, which is this one right here. And then there's a bookcase here, which is pretty simple, but it does look pretty good. And then this tile here is a print. Like I said, all of the tiles and decorations in this set are printed. And there is a sunflower lanyard on it. And so that is pretty cool to see. There's keys and a couple letters as well. And the sunflower lanyard was a nice touch as well to indicate that the person living here has a hidden disability. And then finishing off the rest of the room here, there is a nice potted plant with these fern elements, a little food and water section for the cats right in front of this ladder here. And this ladder goes up to this door here, like I had shown earlier. And that is pretty much it for the build here. Oh, here we go. There we go. When I first actually put this roof on, I couldn't get it to stick down all the way. I think the plates were warped, but I think I managed to fix that now. So it is flush all the way around. And then the chimney here looks good. And there are actually two different styles of build as well for the top, which looks really good to me. And I like how the chimney is sticking out of this here. I think that looks great. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I'm going to actually take this off here so you can kind of see how this whole thing is built. And so it's just this section right here, which clips into that. And then this is just connected to those plates. And then it just sits on there. And I think it works really, really well. And then, like I said, the only downside is that these 2x3 wedge plates are a little fragile. But as long as you don't push on them, the build is fine. That is the only gimmick that I really found with this. So without me talking too much more about it, let's put this back together and we can take a look at the figures and then compare it to all the other modulars. All right, so LEGO claims that there are 8 figures with this set. However, there are only 7, as I keep dropping all of them, there are only 7 official figures. The 8th is just the mannequin that you see on the left there. And so that is kind of unfortunate. It's not really false advertising because it is a full minifig, but it doesn't have a face, it doesn't have hands, and it doesn't add to the story really. It just is a mannequin. And the bike here actually looks pretty good, and it rolls really well too. So that was a nice surprise to see. But we have the chimney sweep, the clockmaster, the person who is kind of just going around and experiencing the Tudor corner, the mannequin itself, and then There's this lady here who is eating at the restaurant here. There is the person who lives on the top floor. There is the haberdashery owner as well as the chef for the inn. And all of these look pretty good. Some of them have back printing and some of them do not. Oddly enough, the chimney sweep did not have a torso print. So that was really interesting to see. Actually, he has leg print, but no torso print, surprisingly. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. Only a couple of them have alternate faces, though. So as you guys can see, only 5 of the 7, or I guess technically 8, only 5 of the 8 figures have alternate faces. But I think the alternate faces given are pretty good ones. Like this is when the chef is throwing out the spoiled fish. And so I think actually some of these faces work pretty good. And overall, I'm happy with the number of figures in the set. I think it works. There's not too little, and it doesn't feel like there's too many either. So I'm happy with this. And so now this is probably the part that you guys are all waiting for. Let me take all of the modulars out of the city and place them next to this one by one to show you guys the size and scale and how they all look next to each other. All right, so this is the Tudor corner next to the 2024 modular. We're going to go back in time. So we're going to start with 2024 and work our way all the way back to the first modular that I got, which is actually the oldest one that I have as well, which is the Pet Shop from 2011. So we're going to start with the museum here, and I personally am not a fan of this. To be honest with you, this is what the museum looks like to the right of the Tudor corner on the haberdashery side. And this is what the museum looks like on the left. And in both cases, I am personally just not a fan. I think the museum looks better standing alone, which is actually, I think, the only modular that I think looks better alone. Most of the time, I think all of the buildings look better when they're next to other buildings. But the museum is the one case where I just think that it looks better on its own. So we're just going to move on. And this is a no for me. All right, so this is the Jazz Club, which is the 2023 modular next to the Tudor corner here. And I actually think that this side right here actually doesn't look that bad. The second and third floors, I think, look pretty good. But the first floor is where it kind of loses me a little bit. I don't think the 2 different types of blues on the first floor look very good next to each other. So I personally wouldn't put it like this. But now let's flip it to the other side and see how it looks. Okay, so this actually works for me a lot more than I thought it would. The staircase on the Tudor corner has a little bit of breathing room. It's not totally exposed, but it looks pretty good. And the balcony on the 3rd floor that you can see right here actually has breathing room as well, and it's not covered by the building here. The pizza shop is only 2 stories tall, and so this actually looks really good. I'm actually quite happy with this, and I think it looks good. The seating area out here, I did move over to here instead of having it being out front of the sidewalk, but I think this actually works, and I think this looks good. So this is definitely a contender for some of my favorite positions that the Tudor corner can sit in a Lego city. All right, so here's 2022's modular, the Boutique Hotel, and this does not work for me. I am personally not a fan of this. The Boutique Hotel is kind of a tricky one to place because it's pretty much a 3-sided modular. And so I even took the back of the building, the one really not camera-friendly side, and I put it up against the haberdashery as well. Also not a fan of that. So let's try it on the other side of the building and see how it looks. This also doesn't do it for me. That 3rd floor of the Boutique Hotel is really just imposing on that balcony from the Tudor corner. So personally, I'm not a fan of this. But so far, let me know what you guys think, if you guys are fans of any of these combinations so far. And with that being said, let's move on to 2021's Police Station. All right, so this I actually do quite like, although I'm not a huge fan of the little bit of tan showing on the side of the haberdashery right in front of the donut shop. Not a huge fan of that, but actually I think this looks pretty good overall, and I quite like this. So let's try it on the other side and see how it looks. This works decently well for me, but I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the Jazz Club was on this side of the Tudor corner. The newsstand down here looks good, and I like how open this all is, and I think that looks great. But the balcony up top here is not doing it for me again. I do like how you can see the Soap and Suds billboard from when you're looking this way, but overall, it's kind of tough to place it here, I think, long term because of that balcony. And I think that's a problem with a lot of the modulars, is that they're not going to look good because of that. So I don't know. This isn't bad though. So this is definitely top 2 so far. So without me talking too much, because there's a lot of buildings to go through, let me move on to 2020's The Bookshop. All right, so here is the bookshop next to the Tudor corner, and I think this actually looks great. I think the actual bookshop half of the set looks great next to the haberdashery. It breaks up the blues really nicely. It is kind of repetitive with the kind of oranges tones and then the blues and then the oranges and then the blues, but I think it works, and I actually don't think that this looks bad at all. However, when you flip it to the other side, this is where it kind of loses me a little bit. I don't like the townhouse on this side here, and even still, again, the balcony is just not really working for me in this situation here. Unfortunately, I don't have 2019's Corner Garage or the 2018 Downtown Diner, but I do have 2017's Assembly Square, so that is what we're looking at right now. And actually, I think this looks really good on this side here. I quite like this, actually. I'm liking it more than I thought I would. I didn't expect the sand blue and the lighter blue on the Tudor corner to mesh well together, but overall, I think this looks pretty good. Yeah, this side doesn't do it for me as well as the other orientation of this did. This sidewall here of the Assembly Square really does not look good. And again, it has the same problem where the balcony just doesn't have any breathing room. So for me, this is a pass. All right, so here's the 2016 brick bank next to the 2025 Tudor corner. I actually think this looks really good. I quite like this. I think the neutral tones of the bank look good next to all of the color that's going on this side here. I think this actually works for me. The only problem is that I don't really have anywhere in my city where I have 2 corners back to back with each other. But if this works for your city, this is definitely something to consider. As for this side, the height works for me. Like, the balcony has room for people to actually see stuff out here. Granted, it is just the roof of the bank, but I think that works pretty good. The only concern I have is that there's a lot of random colors on the back of the brick bank here, so that doesn't look all that great to me. But overall, if you're in a pinch, this definitely works. I think the laundromat looks good next to this as well, and I think the colors match up pretty nicely. All right, so now here is 2015's detective's office next to the Tudor corner, and I actually think this looks great. It has the same kind of feel that the bookshop did with the orange blue combo, but overall, I think this looks pretty good. And my only gripe is that these 2 walls are at the same level here, so it looks kind of plain, but overall, I don't think it looks that bad. And so now let's check it out on the other side to see how it looks. So actually, I expected to not like this because this side of the detective's office is 3 floors tall, and it does actually block the balcony, but the colors on the side don't look bad. And so I think if I had to put a building here that was too tall compared to the balcony here, I would choose this. I think this looks pretty good, and it has the same orange situation going on, but I think the dark red and the dark green on the first floor help break it up on the Tudor corner. And so overall, this is a pretty solid pick as well. If you have this in your collection, this is definitely a combination to consider. 2014's Parisian Restaurant was actually a combination that I really expected to like, but unfortunately, I don't think the olive green looks that good next to the blue haberdashery on this side here. And when you flip it around, I don't think having 2 staircases next to each other looks really good. I think it just looks like poor planning on the architect's part. But yeah, this is unfortunately a miss for me. All right, so now that we have the 2013 Palace Cinema over here next to the Tudor corner, I think this side looks okay. I do think that the other orientation looks a lot better though, even with the balcony being a little short compared to the height of the Palace Cinema. But overall, I think that this is an okay option. But again, I don't have 2 corners back to back in my city. All right, so here is 2011's Pet Shop, and this is the last official modular building, but we're going to take a look at a couple other sets as well, including Marvel ones and a couple others. But I think the Pet Shop looks all right here. I think this looks pretty good, so there's not much going on here. Again, this is at the same level, but that doesn't bother me as much as it did on the other buildings. So let's go ahead and flip it around to see how it looks. And just as I thought, this orientation doesn't really work for me, but it was kind of cool to see how the roof colors or designs are also kind of the same. The Tudor corner has the dark red like the apartment, and the haberdashery has the black slopes like the pet shop does. But overall, this orientation is a miss for me as well. All right, so now we're looking at 2022's Marvel Modular, the Sanctum Sanctorum. And I think this orientation works, although it's kind of boring for me personally. It's a lot of gray and a lot of, I don't know, it's something about it just doesn't look that great to me personally, but I think it looks all right. The other orientation, though, I think looks a lot better. I think the alleyway helps the balcony and the staircase help breathe a lot more, and I think it looks a lot better that way. The only thing, though, is that if I lived there with that balcony, I'd be staring at a billboard of Captain America all day, so I don't know about you guys, but that would get boring pretty quick. And so here is my custom modification of 2022's Holiday Main Street set. I turned it into a modular building and gave it a full back, and I actually think that this orientation looks pretty good. I like the orange, blue, orange combo like the detective's office had as well as the bookshop, but it gets broken up by the green from the toy store here. So actually, I think this looks pretty good, and I wouldn't mind doing this in my city, actually. The only downside here is that the Holiday Main Street set is kind of short, but again, that's how I designed it, so that's not really the end of the world. This orientation, on the other hand, looks even better. I'm actually really happy with this. The olive green and the nougat color don't look that great together, but the height of the toy store here with the balcony, I think looks great. And then the whole staircase situation over here and that whole area of the Tudor corner, I think actually looks really good. And I think that looks fantastic, actually. I will be considering this for my own city layout, actually. This looks really good, and if you have a modification of the Holiday Main Street set, or this is something you were considering, this is definitely a viable option to add to your cities. All right, so the last combination here that we're going to do in today's video is my custom pizza shop and townhouse here. I thought that this is where the Tudor corner was going to go in the Lego City next to the custom building right here, and then the Palace Cinema was right here. But now that I'm looking at it, I don't think I like it as much as I thought I would, to be honest with you. And I tried it on the other orientation as well, which is what you're looking at right now. And that also doesn't really work for me, to be honest with you. I don't know what I'm going to do. So tomorrow's video, if you're watching this the day that this goes live, tomorrow's video will be about placing the Tudor corner in the city and trying to figure out where exactly I want to put it. Because at the moment, the city is quite a mess. I moved all of the buildings over to the build table to do that whole comparison for you guys. But now the city looks like this. So I have a lot of work to do to put it back together. But I don't think it's going to go back exactly how it was before today. So originally that green base plate right there is where I thought the Tudor corner would go. But as you just saw next to my custom pizza shop and townhouse, I didn't think it looked that great. So I think we can do a little bit better than just putting it back there and saying that it's good enough. Because actually over here, I had an idea because I actually randomly placed those two buildings right about there. And so I think that I could put the Tudor corner here where the Palace Cinema is. And the bookshop was actually the only building that I liked on the right side of the Tudor corner, the haberdashery side. I think that was the only building that I actually liked. And so I think we could put the bookshop here. Oh, actually, the other one was the Holiday Main Street. So we could put one of the two of those there. We could put the Tudor corner here, and then we can maybe put either the Jazz Club or the police station right there. I think of the two of them, I like the police station just a little bit more to the left of the Tudor corner, simply because the Jazz Club has a lot of dark red, as does the Tudor corner. And so I think the police station is the personal winner for me on the left side. All right, so having gone back and looked at all of the footage that I had just gone through, I've determined that I like the police station, like I said. I like that on the left the best, and I like the Holiday Main Street modification just a little bit more than the bookshop. I think this looks really good, and I like the varying heights between the three of them here. And so obviously I'm going to sleep on this, and then if you're watching this the day that this goes live, tomorrow, which is Friday, we're going to be placing this in the city. So definitely stay tuned for that, but that is pretty much it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a bit longer, but the Tudor corner is a once-in-a-year thing. You know, the modulars only come around once a year, so this is a pretty special video, and so I wanted to take the time to review it, give you guys a time lapse of the whole build and show you guys all of the figures and the extra pieces, which there were a lot of extra pieces actually, which is what you're looking at right now. I got an extra flex tube for some reason and a couple other pieces that I probably shouldn't have had extras of, but overall, this is a phenomenal set. I'm really, really happy with it. I think it looks good, and it does look good on its own, but it looks better when you put it next to other buildings, just like I did right here. And so that's pretty much it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this comparison as well. And if you want to go back, you can check the timestamps in the description once again, like I said at the beginning of the video. But that's it for me. If you guys like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe, as well as click the bell notifications so you don't miss any future uploads, like me placing the Tudor corner in the city and rearranging everything that I've worked so hard for in 2024. But 2025 is a new year, and so if you have any feedback for me on the modulars that you see right now next to the Tudor corner, or if you have a personal favorite that differs from mine in all of the comparisons that I went through today, make sure to let me know with a comment down below. I would love to hear what you guys think. But seriously, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.